So I was just doing the thing, and I was pressing the button, and they know how to make it look like you're about to win, and you don't win.
The casinos are not designed for you to make money. It's for them to make money.
Right. There's this whole social, not pressure, but it's like you're just in this environment, right? And you want to keep going.
But in reality, they are literally pissing money.
Yeah.
Because not only are there people like you who are just stepping into it, there are people who have gambling addictions who spend their days and nights at the slots.
Of course.
But it is kind of fun, though.
It is kind of fun, though.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Uneducation Station podcast. Of course, my name is Zach, and I'm here with my buddy Arthur.
I'm Arthur. Hey.
Dude, it's been so long.
It has been. Well, okay, it's been so long for us, but I believe the way we structured it, we still have an episode a week. So we'll be okay. We just exhausted the backlog a bit. We stretched it a bit thin. We weren't able to get the 2 episodes. We got the 1 episode, though.
Yeah.
So because of that, we're okay. But for frame of reference, I hate dating things. Although I'm not going to date necessarily, but I'm just going to say it's been about 2.5 to 3 weeks. I think probably a good month at this point since we've last recorded. So...
Dude, I missed filming.
I know.
I missed it so much.
I missed it incredibly. Oh, man. But, things were crazy. Life was crazy. Things had to happen. Not to get too crazy into it, basically my house was under disaster. It had a cabbage leak.
Yeah.
There's a cabbage everywhere, Zach. Yeah. So I had to deal with that. So my entire family, I have my mom, my dad, my brother, my grandparents, both of them living under this house along with me, and they all got it, except me. Because I'm built different, Zach.
Because I'm a god.
Look, listen, Zach. This whole thing, it's just a concept, Zach. It's a mindset. Just don't get it. That's all it is. Just don't do it. It's pretty simple.
See this whole getting down with the sickness thing that you're doing right now? Stop.
Just don't do it, Zach.
Yeah.
See how you're sad? Just don't be sad, Zach. See, just don't get sick, Zach. It's easy. I'm joking, of course, by the way. I like to think my immune system is on a different level than a lot of other people's, and that's not a bragging thing. I don't think you brag about an immune system. I mean, I guess you could, but that's more just, I'm glad I don't have a faulty immune system just in general, or rather a stronger immune system than the average. That being said, I'm the type that if I do get sick, it's bad.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm in bed. I'm not leaving,
Yeah.
That's me sickness. So luckily, I guess, it's better for worse. Pick your poison, right? Would you rather be, just get the cold every now and then throughout the year, or would you rather get a cold once or twice a year, but it'll kick you in the ass?
Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar vein. And in my neck of the woods, we did have, it wasn't a cabbage outbreak, but it was just us kind of getting sick. And so it turned into my dad got sick, and I kind of had to be really sketchy around that. And then I got sick, and then my mom got sick. And so it was just kind of everyone getting down with the sickness. But I ended up taking multiple COVID tests, and it was all good.
Good.
Did I really not have it on my camera that entire time?
No, you did. You're good.
Okay, I was like,
just a blank chair. No, you're fine. Yeah, I took my test and I ended up being negative, and then everybody else was positive. Luckily, it's pretty easy to get tested these days, of course. But it was not okay. Here's the thing that was weird about it. Obviously, I'm not going to get too into detail. This is personal stuff, right?
Yeah.
But let me tell you my experience in being in a household with that everybody has it. Okay. You end up reverse quarantining. So what happens when, Zach, a person ends up getting the cabbage? Quarantine, right? They stay in their room. They avoid people, Zach.
Yeah.
What happens if everybody except one person gets it?
You're the only one who has to worry about it.
I'm the only one who has to worry about it. So here's what happens, Zach. Everybody got it. I'm the only one wearing a mask. I am disinfecting everything I touch. Doorknobs, surfaces, the floor. No, I'm not doing that. But
windows,
the air. But I am disinfecting, hand sanitizing, everything. I'm wearing a mask. I wear a mask to sleep.
Wow.
Now that might be overkill, but here's the thing: you got to understand, right? Because I'm still going to work.
Right.
I handle with customers and food. That's a scary situation, Zach.
Right.
I don't care what anybody says, Zach. Whatever anybody believes in this whole thing, whether it's aliens, whether it's 5G or whatever. It's a thing that happens, and and other people can obtain it. I'm not in a good position right now. But what that also means is that the more I work, the less I'm at home.
Right.
So that's what I did. I worked for about 7 days straight, which was not fun. Well, actually, no. 6 days straight. I would have done 8 days straight, but one day I ended up calling it off because that was the day I found out we had there was cabbage in the house. And then another day at that was in the beginning. And then the end of the 6 days, I ended up getting rescheduled. So I ended up having that day off. Thank God. Because I probably would have died if I had to work 8 days straight. But you know, it is what it is. Whenever I'm home, I just stayed in my house. But here's a problem, Zach, that I was really upset about. Not my entire family, they just acted like nothing was wrong. I mean, they believe it. They understood it. So they stayed home and they quarantined, right? They did their thing. Like, they're not like skeptical or anything, or there's nothing like that. They're very serious about it. We're Asians and we're scared of this, right? But in our house, they didn't wear a mask. They walked around like nothing was wrong. They watched TV. They ate dinner. And I'm just like, dude, I'm fucking dying here. Like, I'm dying. Like, I'm going downstairs and I'm getting the food and stuff, and I'm trying to avoid everybody. And I'm like, how are you? I'm going back up there. Don't touch me, you know, or like
don't hug me. I'm scared.
The most I'm eating, right, is like the basic chicken and rice,
right?
Frozen food, right? And then, you know, I'm trying not to touch very many things, right? But they're making like different types of meals with different types of entrees, of which I have to touch, and different salads and stuff. And I'm not going to touch the thing. I'm going to touch the rice cooker. I'm going to grab the food with my own fork, and I'm going upstairs. After sanitizing everything, of course. Like, Arthur, you're not going to eat salad? I'm not going to touch it. Like, you should eat your vegetables. I know. I'm not going to touch it, though. It's okay. I'm fine. It's all good. You know?
You're like, I don't need vegetables.
Do I need vegetables? And COVID? No, I don't. I'm just going to eat my chicken, Zach. And I sat here and I ate it right here by myself.
Did you at least watch YouTube on the thing?
I can't see the TV, Zach, from right here.
Well, what about that one?
That one is shit, Zach. I mean, of course I did. I have my phone, you know. It's the age of where you can lock yourself in a room and you'll be okay. You know, this is the age we live in. So I was fine. You know, I'm unlike many others. I am not that desperate for social interactions. Although I love human interaction, interpersonal communication. I love that. I don't need it because I feel that although human interaction is important, I have very strong bonds with my internet friends. I have very strong bonds with the people that I interact with online and Twitter and Discord and such. So I feel that they're strong enough that I can feel like I'm speaking to human beings because they are human beings and they're my friends.
Right.
Go friends. High five, internet friends.
Yeah, I think for me, when I ended up catching the cabbage, I think it was in December of 2020 or something like that. It was rough just because I was in a similar situation as well, where I was working and I ended up being ostracized and like sent to go live in my trailer. Yes. And so that entire time, you know, I would only go inside if I really, really needed to. Like, I had to go out and buy my own groceries. I lived off of like Stouffer's lasagna and Kraft's mac and cheese. You know, it was a struggle. And then I ended up finally getting it at one point. And then, you know, once I got it, everyone else had already gone through their due diligence of the quarantine and everything. And so I ended up spending like close to like a month and a half just completely isolated from everybody. And so, you know, when I was in the trailer, I didn't bring my PC out there. Like, all I had was my phone and my old Dell Inspiron laptop.
Yeah, I'm interested they had you do that instead of just in your room. I guess they wanted to be for sure. But then again, this is 2020. Things were different 2020, you know?
Yeah, and when I was doing that, like, I guess the main idea for it was so that I could come and go without having to interact with anybody.
Mhm.
And so, you know, like the only times that I would really go in my house is if I really needed something to eat.
Mhm.
And then, you know, I was like basically wearing PPE and like,
Damn.
you know, I had an N95 mask on, like it
Mhm.
was straight hazmat type shit.
Right.
And so and then I would like go in there to shower because we
Mhm.
didn't have running water.
Right,
We didn't
right.
have running water in there, dude. In the trailer. Yeah.
Damn.
So
I imagine you wouldn't. I guess it's possible, but not in your scenario.
yeah.
That's unfortunate.
It was very unfortunate.
Yeah.
And so after spending a month and a half in isolation, you know, then I ended up, and I was in school at the time too. And so it was just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it could definitely be very stressful. Luckily, you know, it's 2022 now. You know, when it happens, and we have a much better idea of how to deal with it at this point.
Mhm.
So luckily, the way we dealt it in this house was a lot smoother.
Yeah.
You know, luckily. I'm surprised that it didn't happen sooner, but then again, not a lot of people in my house leave my house other than my grandparents. They go to the temple and they go to the casino like every single day. I don't know why. But
I mean, are they making money back?
I don't know. I guess so.
I mean, if they can afford to go every day, then I mean,
I guess so. I do have something to say though about the casino because I went for the first time. That's just last weekend.
how'd it go?
It was interesting. So okay, I guess we'll go into it. I went to Pullman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went to Pullman last weekend to go to my cousin's graduation.
Sick.
Yeah, for WSU. Shout out the Cougs. Although I dropped out ish, I still represent the Cougs for whatever it means, even though I was at the Vancouver.
And
You know?
by the way, for clarification, he's not talking about the Cougs in the casino. He's talking about the.
I am actually, Zach. Both of them. Both of them, Zach. Anyways, here's a funny thing, Zach. So I've never been to Northeastern Washington. First of all, absolutely beautiful.
Oh my god, I know, right?
So you've been there? Like
Yeah,
Yakima and what was Yakima Northeast? Yeah, right.
No, it's
Or is it northwest?
Southeast.
Southeast. But no, you've been Northeast, kind of.
Yeah.
You've been to Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the drive, beautiful. Oh my God, Zach! I didn't even think rolling green hills existed, other than in video games. It was like I was looking at a video. Zach, I was video game, Zach. I was looking at a loading screen.
Dude, it's so funny because
What the fuck? That's crazy. I was awake the entire drive there, 6 hours, and I was awake because it was so cool. And I was talking with my driver. I went with my aunt. And it was like, this is so cool. And we kept driving like to do these farmlands and like rolling, you know, the Windows XP wallpaper. It was that.
Dude, it's so funny when you sent me a Snapchat of you just in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, where the fuck are you going? And then I think you took a similar drive to what I would take up to like Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, he's probably going to like somewhere. And then
Mm-hmm.
you know, you were posting about like how you were going to your cousin's graduation, everything like that, and you were in Pullman, and I was like, oh, sick.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Pullman it's by Yakima, right?
Well, it's northeast. So
Is it northeast of here or northeastern Washington?
northeastern Washington. I want to say, honestly, I have no fucking clue. What I
'Cause
know is that
Yakima
it's
southeast.
It's what I know. It's an hour and a half away from Spokane. It's closer to Spokane
Okay.
than Yakima, probably. It's going to be northeast, I'm going to assume. We can look this up. Or how about you look that up while I continue?
Okay.
So our hotel is in Spokane. So here's the funny thing, Zach, about WSU. Washington State University, that is. I always had this image in my mind, and tell me and let me know if I'm the same or if you're the same. But Washington State University Pullman is like Spokane,
Mm-hmm.
right? That you bring when I say WSU, you think Spokane, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's Spokane or Spokane, by the way?
Spokane.
Spokane. Okay, so someone just put the E there because fuck it. What are we looking at, by the way, Zach?
So it is.
Well, zoom out. Let's just see. This is northeast, right?
Yeah.
And then it is south of Spokane, but Yakima is much farther.
For some reason, I was thinking that we were like up, or like Spokane was like up here, but
I mean, it may as well be.
see, I usually when I travel to when I travel through Spokane, I'm usually going to Kettle Falls, which is about an hour.
I just see. Oh, that was loud. Hopefully, no one heard that. I see the line now. Okay, I agree. I thought it was more over here actually.
Yeah.
Now that I'm looking at it, interesting.
So yeah, you could go through.
My mouse is dying.
Oh god.
Oh god. Oh. It's thinking about it. Oh, it's thinking about it. Okay. Anyways, go ahead.
Anywho,
I guess you're on the driver's seat now. You're back.
So yeah, my aunt and uncle live in Kettle Falls, which is like, Colville. Yeah, like up here.
Okay.
And so when I think of Spokane, I think it's like way up there.
Okay.
But yeah. You're like clicking the mouse and it's dragging the map around. That's hilarious.
I'm not even clicking the mouse. That's funny.
Oh,
I'm just trying to grab this damn battery that's stuck. It's really deep in here. I can't grab it. I can't get it to push into the spring. What the hell?
do you need help?
I think so. No, come on, Zach. I'm the tech guy. I can pull a battery out. Come on now. I did just clip my fingernails though. Look how deep it is. I'm chipping into the thing now. Oh,
here. I'll play with it. And
okay.
then you can.
Okay. Let me continue my story then. Just be aware when you hit the side buttons to switch the cameras. I can warn you though.
Okay.
So, see, it's hard, right? yeah. This is leverage. It's okay. Yes. So you had this idea too, as well, right? Like, WSU Pullman is WSU Spokane, right? And maybe this is different in terms of understanding of figuring out where you or where you live. Maybe you're accustomed to a drive like this, but Spokane is an hour and a half away from Pullman.
Yeah.
So I'm doing this, and I'm like, why did I always consider Spokane to be Washington State University when it's for sure Pullman of its own town?
Right. I think it's interesting because when you think of the grand scope of how big our state is, and like, you know, it's not the biggest state.
No.
But at the same time, for you to go from the Vancouver waterfront to Spokane, that's like a 6-7 hour drive.
Right.
You never think about it like that until you make that drive. And from my house to Colville or Kettle Falls, that's about an 8-hour drive.
Sure. But that's like saying Portland and Beaverton are the same city. Maybe even farther. Like an hour and a half. Like Portland and like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess Beaverton maybe.
I'm trying to think of a good example.
I'm trying to think so as well. What would be like an hour and a half south from Portland? I tried to. That's so sad. I just tried to reach for my mouse. That wasn't there. That was so tragic. Okay, let me see.
All right, hold up. Let's.
Yeah. So if we look for where the hell am I? Oh God, I can read maps by the way, guys. Don't worry. Portland and
Salem.
No, it's not quite that far. Portland and
Tigard's
maybe
Newburgh.
Newburgh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like an hour and a half. That's like saying they're the same city. Or associating them with the same under the same umbrella. You wouldn't do so, would you? You know?
I've been to Newburgh. It's a great town, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm not saying it's a bad town.
It's like the aesthetic of like downtown Battleground, except for bigger.
Okay, gotcha. So that's why I'm saying like
I'm still working on.
No, I know because it's hard, right? That's why I'm saying I've gone to Spokane now, and we're taking our drive to Pullman in like 9 a.m. to go to this graduation, and I'm like, what the fuck? I thought it was like 30 minutes away. It's an hour and 30 minutes away. What? Are you kidding me? And this is not just a casual commute, Zach. This is an hour and a half in a car. What?
I mean, I will say I'm getting up to move stuff.
Yeah.
To grab something. So I will say that the more that you travel, the more that an hour and a half doesn't really feel like a whole lot.
Okay,
because, like,
maybe.
I drove to Newburgh a lot, and it was not that bad. I think it was like a little bit over an hour, but
okay, but on a constant back to forth basis every week, like on a constant weekly basis, multiple times a week. You know what I mean? What the hell? So yeah, I will no longer say WSU Spokane. It's WSU Pullman. So here's another thing. You're going to take a screwdriver to it, Zach? If there should be some heads in the thing if you want. Yeah. There should be a flathead. Unless there's a flathead already on it. Okay, cool. Anyways, this is... hold on. Let me try some. Okay. Yep. Okay, that didn't quite... Wait. Oh, I felt like that was a good idea for a second. All right, got it! Okay, Zach. You know what? Let's pause for... Let's give her a pause. Hold on. We'll be right... Gang will be right back.
No.
Why did it not pause? Okay, I think we're back. Apologies for that. Hopefully, editor Nuki remembers to make sure that cut is seamless. I'm not going to. So, anyways.
That was such a funny little sequence of events.
Yeah, I know. Why was this battery so difficult to get out of this mouse stack? It's like really deep. You need to understand. It's like so deep, and the space that you get to the bottom and the top of the battery is very small. Like you'd have to like not cut your fingernails for like a month to be able to get in there, in order to push the battery down to engage the spring.
Right.
Of which case you wouldn't have enough leverage, and then as soon as you do it, it would go ping, and then the battery would go flying, because you don't have leverage on the battery.
Like it did.
I mean, it did, but I went like this to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's an hour and a half drive from Spokane to Pullman, and at that point I realized I'm never considering WSU Spokane again. It's just Pullman. And so, anyways, let me go with my overview of the trip, okay? As a guy who doesn't leave his house, here's my experience, Zach. Okay?
I'm listening.
All right. So, it was very cool. The drive, of course, like I said, it was pretty. It was a combination of just like I felt like this was just, I was going through a free roam world, Zach, like an RPG. That's how like surreal the landscape was. Like I need you guys to understand. Like I said, the Windows XP wallpaper, the lush green rolling hills. I thought that was fake, Zach. I thought it didn't exist. Now I've taken drives down to like Lincoln City, and those are, and it's also a very good drive, very very nice drive, great scenery. Northeastern Washington, very pretty, and you get to a point where there's like kind of like a stony area, and it's kind of like a stone like it's fucking Skyrim or Game of Thrones, like it's valleys and rocks, and it's very cool.
When I think it's when you're going along the Columbia River is when you have like those huge cliffs.
I think
and stuff.
so. Yes, I can't remember quite, but yeah, I don't know exactly where we were. I just know it looked fucking cool. Like we're in a video game. Like this is where they shot Lord of the Rings. Like that's what it looked like, Zach. And there was this cool like town that was inside of a valley, and we drove through it. So cool. I thought that was just so fucking fascinating. Like, wow, this is like Kimi no Na wa. This is crazy. So that's the drive there was very pretty. Now when we got there, it was fucking storming and raining, as it would be over there in damn Spokane Pullman area, right? But that's besides the point. I figured that anyways, so I won't even go too much into that. Anyways, so I come to learn that Spokane is like kind of its own city, and Pullman is like the college town. Like everything there in Pullman is kind of like this, the economy, the buildings, everything around it is, everything in it is surrounding like the Pullman, of course, right? Or WSU, of course, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like Portland, like PSU, for example.
Yeah.
Where it's a university in a town. It's a town it's a university with a town.
Right. Like the town is like encompassed by the people who are going there to go to school.
Yeah, right. That's their main economy. Not only the school, but also the students, right?
Yeah.
The living expenses, the going to the restaurants and the buying in the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Pullman is. It's a city. It's a university with a town, not a university in a town.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting. Although we didn't go over there very much. Like we only went to Pullman and stayed in Pullman for the graduation, and then we went to Spokane to do other things, which was interesting. But I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know the lifestyle there, Zach. I'm not there very often, but they seemed pretty normal about it. And I was like, really? We're just gonna go here for an hour and a half, or we're gonna drive here an hour and a half for a graduation that lasts an hour and a half, and drive back an hour and a half? Are you kidding me? Is this normal? Am I crazy? Do I just not leave my house? I don't leave my house. This is why, because you guys are crazy. You motherfuckers are crazy. You're fucking kidding me?
Am I motherfuckers?
You might be motherfuckers. Zach. I'm not motherfuckers. Statistics shows that 1 out of 2 people in a room are motherfuckers. I'm not a motherfucker.
Ah, shit. It's so interesting though, because there have been a lot of times where, like, when I guess it's like a desensitization of traveling long distances, being in the car for long periods of time, you know, like all of that kind of stuff. Because when I sit and think about an 8-hour drive, I'm like, we might stop like once or twice if I have to pee, and like, you know, we'll grab lunch. It's like, no big deal. And then
are you kidding me? 8 out. Well, we'll stop by for lunch, you know, and just like on a talking shit, you know. I'm like, what? Are you kidding?
Bro,
I get upset if I have to drive an hour, Zach. 30 minutes to an hour, I'm upset, Zach. I'm mad. I'm angry. I'm incredibly angry.
Perturbed. And like, here's a good example. So, you know that guy, Jacob Collier, who I've been like gushing about forever and ever. So I went to go see him up in Seattle.
Okay.
And, it was just like a day trip, you know, 3 hours there, 3 hours back. It was like, man, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, we did it in pretty much one go all the way there. I think we might have stopped. I think we stopped on the way back because I wanted to get like a Monster or something. And then that was pretty much it. And that's normal. Like Jackson and I have taken trips, like he and I went to Yakima.
Seattle is closer though, because it's a straight shot up though, right? So Seattle's like 3 hours, correct? 3.5 hours?
Yeah.
Spokane was 6 hours. Because you're going diagonal. Hypotenuse.
Well, and I have family that lives north of Spokane, so I've taken that drive.
I'm just trying to put a frame of reference for those who aren't Washingtonians like ourselves.
Yeah.
You know. And I've done that as well. I've gone to Seattle just for a concert and back. So, you know, I get, I'm vibing.
Dude, it's so funny because one of the people that went with Jackson and I to that concert, she was kind of freaking out about the drive. She was like, it's 3 hours each way and you're not going to stay the night there. The concert's going to get done at like 10, 11 o'clock p.m. And I was like, okay. And she was like, you're willing to drive all the way back from Seattle at 10 p.m.? And I was like, yeah. Like, that's fine. Whatever. Fuck it, dude. I don't care.
To be fair, I'm kind of with her. Just a little bit. For Seattle, probably is okay. Probably okay, Zach. Spokane? I don't know if I'm okay, Zach. I don't know if I'm okay. Maybe at least a one night hotel.
I've had buddies who have driven up and down.
I know.
In one day.
I'm sure, Zach. That's not me. I'm not buddy, Zach. I'm Guy. I'm not your buddy, Guy.
But yeah, like Jackson and I went to Yakima because he used to go to school over there, and we just went and we did end up staying the night over. Oh God, where did we go? I think we went to Pendleton, Oregon.
Okay,
so that's like Eastern Oregon. So we went from Yakima to Pendleton, which that in and of itself was like a 2.5 hour drive, plus a 3 hour drive coming up, and plus us stopping at like skate parks and stuff on the way, because that was like the basis of the whole trip was to just go to the skate parks over there. And so, you know, that ended up being like a 20-hour day. And then we got up the next morning, basically did it all again.
Right.
And so the idea of just like driving to Seattle and back, like I drove. Oh God, do you remember me telling you the story about the Seattle Street Jam?
Maybe.
So
I don't think so.
Jackson, Andy, and I. This was in 2019.
Okay.
We went up to Seattle for a street jam, and for those of you who don't know what a street jam is, it's basically like a bunch of, in this case, scooter riders or like skateboarders or BMX or whatever. They all get together in this area and they ride the streets of Seattle and like, you know, go to a bunch of different spots where there are like handrails and that kind of stuff.
Oh, you have told me this. Okay.
I
remember now.
Yeah, so that was like a 23-hour day for me.
And I remember this. Yeah.
And I still was like, shit, man, I want to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like one of those things that I'm dreading doing, like going and traveling for shits and giggles. And,
For sure.
you know, I enjoy it a lot. It's very
Mhm.
satisfying to be able to see where you could go in just a drive.
Definitely,
In a
definitely.
day's drive. You know, like when you first start driving, you're like, I don't want to go more than like 30 minutes away from my house because that sounds like way too much effort.
Mhm.
And then as you start to kind of expand that more and more, then you're realizing like, oh, okay, you know, if I want to drive for an hour and a half, then I'll get down to Beaverton, or like,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
if I go an hour north, then I'll end up in, or like an hour and a half north, I'll end up in Tacoma or like whatever.
Yeah, I guess it depends what you're doing, right? Like if I have to drive an hour to do an event of some sort, I think I'm more happy than I have to drive an hour to go to like dinner and back. You know?
I've driven to Seaside, which is on the west coast.
Okay.
I've driven to Seaside to get clam chowder.
But that sounds like that's like all right, fellas, this is the mission today. All right, we're going for some clam chowder. So Seaside. That's the shit we're doing. You know. Other than like, hey, you guys want to like I don't know, like family brings us up. Hey, let's just go to the restaurant and eat out. You know, and like Seaside, and be like,
What?
you know what I mean? Different kind of vibes, right? Other than fellas, listen, hear me out. Clam chowder, Seaside. Fuck it, let's go. You see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Different vibes, right? I think I would agree as well. Like, yeah, fuck it, fuck it, yeah, why not?
Oh, Arthur, what are you doing after this?
Okay, I'm joking. But yeah, you know, there's a different kind of air to it, I guess. You know, because it's kind of a in the moment type of thing, like a, hey, let's just do this thing, you know,
Yeah.
and that ends up being an event rather
Right.
than just going out to dinner or something like that with a family or with some friends or whatever. If that's the
Right.
case, man, let's just fucking go to Applebee's or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, like let's go to Noodles and Company, or oh shit,
Noodle
what is
Bar?
it? Not Olive Garden, the nicer one.
Zach, that's not a very high bar.
There's like a
Spaghetti Factory?
Yeah, blah, blah,
yeah. I've
Spaghetti
been there
Factory.
twice now. Yeah, I got very lame dishes. I'm gonna be honest, Zach. Just got the spaghetti and meatballs, but you know.
Yeah, it wasn't worth the theatrics of like, Spaghetti Factory.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's cool, you know, but yeah. I don't know. Anyways, oh yes, let me finish. I guess the point I was trying to say was I went to the casino for the first time.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's where
right.
this conversation.
Yeah, that's where I was
going.
trying. That was where I was trying to end. I was trying. I had my shot and then I lost it. Okay, so and I do have a couple more things to say since while I was out in Pullman, the couple things that I did. I went to the casino for the first time and it was a lot of honestly. I talked about how I didn't care, and honestly, to this, I still don't care that much. Like I personally, okay, let me just say, it was fun. I had a time. One might say I had a time, Zach.
Right.
Guy like me. Couple
Having a time.
having a time like myself, as I did.
Yeah.
Guy like me, and it was okay. I won $20. It was okay, you know. I didn't stay there. We only stayed there for like an hour and a half, I think, 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, mostly it was for dinner, and you know, because the restaurant we went to was attached to it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was cool. You know, it was all right. We just did slots because obviously I'm not going to the table. I'm scared shitless, Zach. Of course I'm not fucking. Hell no, Zach. Hell no. You know, the only time I played blackjack, Zach, was in Mario Party for the DS. That's the only time I played blackjack, and they didn't even call it blackjack. They called it something else.
Because copyrights.
Is blackjack copyrighted? I don't know, but yeah, or maybe it was called 21. I don't fucking know. But yeah, yeah, I'm not, you know what I mean. But
You know,
it was fun, Zach. I mean, I was just hitting the button, and you know, I'm just like, this is no way this is fun. And then I'm starting to win. I'm losing, but I'm winning. I'm like, okay, this is kind of fun, you know. But they kind of do that. You know, you have the flashing lights and the sounds and stuff, and the you win and big win and stuff like that, right? And even if it's not a big win, the numbers is flash. There's a lot of psychological things happening. And honestly, like a lot that may or may not be overwhelming to someone. Honestly, like I'm there and it's like an arcade, but there's more on the line.
yeah, it's like an arcade, but It's for adults.
It's for adults, and there is not as many games. There's only a select few type of games, and they're repeated, basically. And some of which have, I think, different odds, you know, different machines. I don't know. You base your luck on things. I tried different machines. It didn't work out. I ended up gravitating back to the same machine, you know? And I kind of started figuring it out as I go. And, you know, you just kind of, you do use real money in this one, and then you get vouchers, and then you redeem it, and it's like you get the money and you keep going, you know? And it's pretty honestly, pretty simple concept. I thought it would be a little trickier, especially for my first time. Not too bad, actually. It kind of made sense. So I was just doing the thing, and I was pressing the button, you know, and you know, Zach, I'm not stupid. I know what they're doing, Zach. Okay, I'm not stupid.
Yeah,
I play gotcha, Zach. I know how this goes, Zach. You know,
mm-hmm.
The slot machines, they know how to make it look like you're about to win, and you don't win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know what they're doing, Zach, and then you're like, oh, that was close. I'm gonna do it again. I know what they're doing. It's like, I'm not stupid. And I keep going and like, oh, this machine's hot. I'm gonna win right now. I'm gonna place a higher bet. And then I don't win. Oh, that was close. I had 2 of the bonuses. I'm gonna go again. I know what they're doing, Zach. I'm not stupid.
But it is kind of fun, though.
It is kind of fun, though. So yeah, honestly, I had a blast. I'm not gonna lie. I had a fun time, man. Have you gone to the casino yet?
So I haven't gone and played slots or anything like that, but I did live in Vegas,
right?
You know, and so it's really funny when you're like, yeah, the casino had the restaurant attached to it, because like there are complexes in Vegas where you'll go through 2 casinos and a bowling alley to get to a movie theater,
right.
Which is what I did when I was a kid, you know, and like it's just like, I don't know,
I forget you grew up in Vegas or lived in Vegas. Yeah, I forget.
And so for me, I have kind of like a complicated love-hate relationship with gambling and like those types of games and everything like that.
Sure.
Because if it's just based off of luck, then it can be manipulated, and it will be.
Yes.
And like I've spent a lot of time like just kind of doing my own independent research. I went down that rabbit hole at one point in my life, and it was like talking about arcade games, and then you know, that same kind of concept can be applicable to like gambling in casinos, because the casinos are not designed for you to make money. It's for them to make money.
Right.
And so it's just kind of like that weird moral gray area where I'm like, I'm not very good with my money as it is, so I think I'm gonna.
No, that's understandable, you know? Because I like to think I'm pretty good with my money. You know, I buy my things here and there, you know. Honestly, I would not say compared to many others in my age group, I would say I do a lot better. Just in general.
Compared to me, you do fantastic.
Okay. But even me, I was like, okay, I can put in another 20, you know?
Yeah.
And then they got me. I'm like, oh man, that's crazy. Because I was winning, and I was winning, and I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. Let me put in another 20. And then I was losing. I was under. And I was like, what? How did this happen?
Yeah.
I was winning just now. What happened?
Right.
So yeah, I get what you're saying. I totally get it. But then it's like weird because there's this whole weird social, I don't know, not pressure, but it's like you're just in this environment, right?
Right.
And you want to keep going. You know, not even just with your own party, but with everybody else in other parties. Like I'm in this one machine, and there's a lady next to me, to my left. She has not left the machine from when I came here to when I left, and she's fucking killing it. The amount of times she's getting big win and jackpot, and I'm just watching her go to like thousands of dollars. I'm like, what the fuck? Lady, how the fuck? And she's going crazy. She's nuts. How in the world? And I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to keep playing too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's this weirdness about it too. And then behind me, my cousin is winning. And then to my right, my aunt is winning. And you know, and like, I can put in another 20. Let's try again, you know? There's this weirdness of that, of this indirect encouragement, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, it's kind of like the idea of like social eating, right?
Yeah.
Where you go to eat food and maybe, you know, you're watching yourself or something, you know? Guy like me might be watching his calories. I'm not. I don't go fuck. I'm just making sure I don't eat bad things. Maybe you're watching what you eat because, you know, you want to do a little better for yourself, you know? Shout out. Good job, king. Good job, queen. I believe in you.
And then they ask if you want dessert.
Yeah.
And everyone else is like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, let's get dessert. Yeah. Or like, hey, let's do another round of appetizers. And you're like, Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, fuck, you know, you don't realize. And it's dangerous, very dangerous.
Right. And
That's that idea.
right. And another fascinating thing too is that there not only is there that social influence, there's also the things that they do to directly encourage you to stay at the machines.
Yeah, it's definitely an indirect and direct.
Yeah. Because, you know, you have the indirect of like, you know, you're sitting there chumming it up with someone and, you know, you're just having a grand old time and, you know, they're winning. And so you feel like, oh, I'm just one roll away.
Oh, my machine's hot.
Yeah.
It's about to blow right now. I gotta get it.
Yeah. Because you're like, if it's not me, then it's somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that direct pressure of like, oh yeah, you know, free drinks while you're on the slots, or, you know, while you're playing on the machines, then, you know, you'll get free whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, wow, that's very generous of them.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, they are literally pissing money,
Yeah.
because not only are there people like you who are just stepping into it, there are people who have gambling addictions who
Mhm, mhm.
spend their days and nights at the slots.
Of course.
And so there's just like that. You have to be very, very careful.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I've seen people blow hundreds of thousands of dollars on gambling,
Yes.
and it's fucking terrifying.
Mm-hmm. I
Because-
mean, yeah.
Well, and
Right.
like I know that you were just there to have a grand old time, and
Mhm.
and like I'm not casting any judgment to anybody
yeah,
who
yeah.
does that, but there just the fine line between having a good time
Mhm.
and it sucking all of your
Mhm.
money away. There, like the line there is very, very fine.
Mhm.
And like you said, like, you know, you felt like you were encouraged to just keep going and everything like that. And, you know, they do that psychological, like, oh, it's hot.
Yeah.
My machine's hot, you know,
Yeah.
and all of that kind of stuff. And so it's kind of scary how intoxicating it is.
It's like, even if you are not very socially inept like myself,
Right.
you want to partake in it. If anything, you get sucked into it, right?
Right.
They make you want to be involved as much as possible. You don't want to be that guy, you know. I'm not to my group that I was with. You know, we didn't even stay very long. If I wanted to stop, we would have stopped. None of us spent that much money.
Right.
In the end of the day, we're a bunch of young 20-year-olds, Zach. We don't have that much money, you know?
Yeah.
You know? So it's not like, you know, it wasn't like that where it's like, oh, Arthur, you're leaving? Come on, pussy. No, I don't surround myself with that type of people, you know?
Yeah.
And even if I did, I probably wouldn't care anyways. But I know some people who would care, you know, who would
Yeah.
succumb to that. That's, you know, and that's scary to think about. I understand that. And I think it comes with my family because I just say like, you know, my grandparents go to the casino like every other day, you know? My family, we're a bunch of Asians, Zach.
Yeah.
We live in the casino. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That stereotype, it's true. It's not racist. It's true.
Yeah.
They're there. That's what they do when they're bored. Hey, let's go drive to Illinois. Because fuck it. You know? I have an afternoon. I have a day off. I have a lunch break.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up a little early today.
Right.
You know? And that's the family I live in. Or that's the family I grew up in. But that doesn't mean that they're a bunch of gambling addicts. Only some
Right.
of them are. And I know, and we, as a family, know who is and who isn't.
Right.
So I've seen the difference between one who has fallen, like very deep, and one who knows self-constraint. One who knows, okay, I'm done. I've gone through my budget. I pushed it maybe just a little bit just for more fun, but I'm done. I don't need to go anymore. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm luckily I was raised in that side. So I hate my budget. Maybe I push it just a little bit. My first time, you know, let's have a little bit more fun. It's all good. It's not that bad, you know? And now I'm done. Cut it off. I'm done. Let's go to the restaurant.
Right.
Or I'll wait for you. Let's go. I'll wait outside.
Yeah.
done.
Or like, yeah, it's like having that fine line of like, this is my budget.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I feel like for me, that would take moving money around in my bank account to make it so that I couldn't keep going, you know?
Yeah.
Just having that hard barrier of like, let's say $100.
Mhm.
Once that $100 is gone, no matter how much you won or lost, you're out. Like,
Right,
leave.
right.
Because the second you start tapping into extra money that you have or
Mhm.
anything like that, then
Yeah.
it can just be a slippery slope.
Oh,
and like,
yeah.
you know, I don't want to cast any judgment towards anyone who goes to the casino, has a grand old time on a Friday night. You know, like, fuck it, us, like, let's go, just the boys. Let's go to the casinos. Let's have a couple drinks. You know, maybe play a couple games of slots, like whatever.
Oh yeah, not
like,
at all.
That is entirely different from the things that I'm afraid of.
Right. No, gambling addiction is a serious thing.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say, yeah, it's, but, you know, so it's alcoholism, but we go to bars and stuff and have some fun, you know?
Yeah.
It's about, there is a problem, or there is an actual serious problem that is accompanied with it, and that's scary. And it's hard to not fall into that category, right?
Right.
It's very hard. Even me who has self-constraint, I could see myself in, like, what if I just kept going because I could, you know?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they could, to a point where they couldn't. And that's scary because it's so easy to just, the ATM is right there, Zach.
Right.
It's literally right there. I don't know. I worked a lot this week, you know?
Yeah.
Why not just, you know, another 100, another 200, another 3, another 1,000?
Right.
It gets very scary. And even someone with me who has a lot of self-restraint in myself, I could see myself just saying, oh, fuck it, just another, you know, 100 will do, you know?
Yeah.
That's scary.
It is really scary. And, you know, I think it's because I lived in Las Vegas, which is the gambling capital of the planet, basically. And, you know, I've had people in my family who have had bouts of gambling addictions and everything like that.
Yeah.
You know, I know what that looks like. And I know the lengths that people are willing to go to feed that. And it gets really scary really fast. You know, like pulling out a second mortgage on your house, bad.
Yeah.
You know, and so, like, that's why I haven't gone since I've turned 21, because I know myself and I know how I am at the arcade, you know. And as much as those things don't sound related, they really are, because the arcade and the casino, they have the same idea and they're doing it in the same way, where it's like, what lengths are you willing to go to win? Yeah.
What lengths are you willing to go to get that PlayStation, you know?
Yeah.
To get that super massive plushie, you know?
Yeah. That 100,000 tickets.
Yeah. That's like, oh, I didn't get it this time. I'm going to save my card and go back again. You know? It is the same exact model.
Yeah.
You know? And there's the flashing lights and the music and the sounds and the drinks. You know, well, if you're kids, the sodas and the stuff, and you know, you're in this, and you're you're in high school, the social pressures.
Yeah.
When you're with your friend group, it's the same thing. I get it, Zach, because I'm also not the biggest fan of arcades either. I go to Big Al's like maybe 3 times a year, if at all, maybe.
Dude, if I'm gonna go just for bowling, there are a bunch of cheaper places out there. Like,
oh yeah.
I'm probably not going to name drop them, but there are like a bunch of really cool places around here, like in Vancouver and Battleground.
Well, it's that arcade attachment that makes it, you know, that's I wanted to say is their big money maker, right?
Oh,
because you go to the bowling and you have a time, it's all good, and you do like 1 or 2 games, and it's only been an hour. And you're like, well, let's just hang out in the arcade for a bit, you know?
Yeah.
And then you spend a shit ton of money to obtain tickets that probably amount to about half of that money.
Right.
And you're like, all right, well, if that. And you're like, all right, well, let's buy a couple Snicker bars and head out, eh? You know? Yeah. I don't know. It's like, but okay, it's that idea, but there's also a part that's just like, don't think about it that much. If you're okay with it, then you can have some fun, you know? And it's like, and then like I said, I go like 3 times a year, if at all, you know? Yeah. 3 to 4 times. So it's, you know, it's whatever. You know what I mean?
And I think the important distinction that I really, really want to emphasize is the intent.
Right.
Like, what are you going there for? If you're just, you know, let's say you're going to ALNA and you're just like, oh yeah, you know, let's just put $50 on and, you know, have a grand old time. If you win something, you win something. If you don't, then you know what? It's $50, whatever. And, you know, you're just sitting there sipping on a beer and just playing slots just for shits and giggles. And then the money's gone, you're gone. And it's the same thing with the arcade, you know, like you're just there to fuck around, play some basketball. You know, like I was actually at Big Al's not too long ago. Because my brother invited me out and you know, he offered to pay for me to play on the arcade for a little while. And so, you know, I was playing basketball Connect 4 with my brother. We were having a grand old time. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you know, if you're there to have a good time and you have a good time, then like that's cool. And I hope that the people watching and listening understand that, you know, we're not discouraging you from doing those things for the intent of having fun. It's just that distinction that needs to be made. If you are there to make money, you should not be there.
If you are there for the intent of getting it, like, are you going to be there to hang out with your friends, or are you there for the jackpot? If you're there for the jackpot, you should not go there. You should probably call someone. You know what I mean? You know, that's I agree 100%. You know, and I guess now I wouldn't. I mean, if I'm like at the gathering, the family gathering, you know, and they're like, "Hey, let's go to the casino," I'm like, "All right, sure," you know. I'll go, and then I'll spend like $50, $100. I'm like, all right, I'm done. That's okay. I'm good. You know. Sorry, y'all. I know y'all work like jobs. I work at a bubble tea store. I can't really go anymore, you know. I know y'all work full-time jobs. I'm not really quite there yet, so I'm gonna just call it here.
I have a full-time job. I just don't make that much money. So.
You know, I'm good. You know, but I'd say that's fine. That's all I'm gonna do. I don't think I'm ever going to, at least not in my time right now, maybe when I'm older. I don't think I organized the casino trip. You know what I mean? I don't think that's gonna be, I don't think I'm gonna be like, hey, I kind of want to go to the casino. I'm gonna call some people, you know? I don't think that's me right now. And to that matter, I think I'm okay.
You know, it's been really cool because ever since Jackson turned 21, he and I, every once in a while, maybe like once or twice a month, we'll probably once a month, but we'll go to a bar over in downtown Battleground and we'll just grab a beer and play pool. And it's super chill and it's sick. I love it. And you know, we're being responsible adults, and you know, I highly, highly, highly discourage anyone drinking and driving. But you know, if you have a beer within like a 3-hour time span, I believe that is, you know, where you're at the point where you can drive responsibly.
Well, you know yourself, right? You know, you've had a drink, you know, you know what you're doing. If you are turned 21 and you have your first drink, you know, you know yourself, you know, or rather you turn 21 and you miraculously have your first ever drink. I think you would just know very well that you should not be alone for that first drink.
Oh yeah.
So, and let's say you are having your first drink at 21, and that's kind of like your gauge. Let's find out where you sit. You know, some people are light, some people are heavy. I'm on the heavier side.
Same
I
here.
can go like pretty far without feeling even a buzz. And I've learned this. I've never tried to get smashed. Not even on my 21st birthday did I try to get, well, I'm not like, okay, I'm not leaving until I can't sit anymore. You know, I've never done that. I've never been drunk. The most I've been is tipsy, and I've gone pretty far. And that's just because I don't find drinking in a social environment that much fun. I mean, it's fun. I mean, you loosen up, you know, you're having a time, you know. But you get to a point where you're like, okay, I don't. Are you having fun just because you're loose and you're drunk? If that's the case, are you really having fun? Like, is a party that fun?
Right.
I don't need to drink to have fun. I've done it for 18 years, you know? I'm fine. You know, as long as we're having fun, as long as we're chatting and, I don't know, games or whatever the hell we're doing, or hanging out, or, I don't know, playing Pokemon Go. I don't fucking know. I'm having fun. I don't need a drink.
And I think it's funny because whenever whenever we've gotten on and played games and all of us have been drinking, it's just like, it's just funny.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's the normal banter, but
More.
more,
A little bit more, you know?
yeah, a little bit more. And you know, sometimes that fine line ends up, you know, it
Mhm,
wavers a little bit.
Right.
But that's just because we've done it sober for God knows how long.
Mhm.
And so I only on very, very few occasions, maybe a handful of occasions, have purposely tried to get drunk.
Mhm.
A lot of times it happens by accident.
Right.
You know,
Of course.
you get caught up in the moment and you're
Mhm.
like, yeah, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
like you know, especially like at, you know, celebrations of some kind, you
Sure,
know, like
of course.
if I'm with family or if I'm with friends, you know,
Yeah.
everyone's like, let's take a shot. And I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah, but that's fine, you know?
yeah.
It's like, okay, I think, you know, we're at a point where we're past peer pressure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a difference between peer pressure and, you know, kind of being in the environment, I think. It's very fine, I will say. It's very fine. But if if you have the ability to say no, but you say yes anyways just cuz, then that's different than just saying, then that's different than saying yes because you don't want to say no.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you know whether you can do that or not. You, like I said, you know yourself. You know how much you can drink. You know if you can say no. That's
Yeah.
very important. So if you can obtain both of those bits of knowledge of yourself, then go have a time.
Oh yeah.
Go have a time.
I think a good way to describe it would be like the ambiance of the environment that you're in.
Mhm.
You know, if everyone's just there having a grand old time, just goofing and gaffing, and like I've had plenty of gatherings like that where, you know, everyone's just there having a good time, and you know, no one's trying to convince you to do anything.
Mhm.
They're just like, do you want to take another shot? And you're like, fuck it.
Yeah.
You know, that's entirely different from people passing a bottle around and being like, don't be a bitch.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Yeah, that's
Um,
it's not somewhere you want to be. If that happens, you need to get out.
Run.
You need to run. You know? Why are you running? Why are you running? You know, you need to
Yeah.
you need to leave. You need to leave right now.
you are the captain now.
But you know, I'm not gonna ever discourage fun, you know,
Yeah.
but just make sure it's fun and not forced. 2 different F words, Zach. F is for
Fuck.
shit.
Yeah, I think I don't think we're talking about anything that would be like out of place, you know? Like
No.
I think the idea that, you know, learning that fine line for yourself and learning not only your own personal like physical limitations, like how much you can drink, how long you can stay awake, those types of things,
Yeah.
and like your social limitations, like at what point do you feel like you would give in to that peer pressure,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, figuring that out for yourself. And obviously, you know, unfortunately it takes a little bit of experience to figure that out. But you know, like, I mean, you know my history, where I've been,
Mm-hmm.
what I've done.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I've unfortunately been in those situations where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Well, as someone who has, and I have as well,
yeah.
you know, it's growing up. It's kind of how it goes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in that type of age, a very vulnerable age, it's hard.
Right.
It's incredibly hard. And that's why, while we're saying this, to us it makes sense, but someone may needed to hear that.
right.
Because if it wasn't a problem, then would never even if it was obvious, then there would be then people wouldn't have a problem. But people do have a problem.
Right.
So that's all we're saying, really. And hopefully it helps. It just is what it is. So even some people I know in my own age are probably still vulnerable to it, you know?
Yeah.
It's just kind of who you are, and you should know who you are. And that's all I'm not kind of going into some weird slope of like kind of a depressy area. It's just know yourself, know your limits. You can break it just a little bit, but know when how much is allowed to overflow.
Yeah.
Because, you know, forget the faucet, bath overflows, shit. You know, if it does a little bit, I can clean it up. It's all good. When it's the whole bathroom, you're like, fuck. Well, shit. What do I do? A bucket? I don't know. Or back in the tub? You know, what do I do? You know?
Yeah. You're like, now my entire bathroom is the tub. What do I do?
What do I do? Do I just open the drain? I can open the drain on the sink now at this point. That'll help.
But yeah, the fundamental idea of proceeding with caution and throwing caution to the wind in very specific controlled environments. And yeah, I don't know how we ended up just going down like a moral tangent, but I think it's good to talk about because I'm glad that you and I have the same kind of mutual understanding of like, it's okay to have fun. It's okay to push a little bit, like, you know, kind of find that gray area where you're like, oh, okay, you know, this is a little sketch, but you know, it's just sketch enough to where you're having a grand old time.
Yeah.
And you know, that can be applied to everything in your life, and being surrounded by people who will encourage you to do good things, but also kind of, you know, be like, let's go do some dumb shit, and you're like, woo.
Yeah.
And like when Jackson was on the podcast, and I use him as an example because him and I have gotten into a lot of shenanigans together. When we went cliff jumping, you know, I went there just to swim, have a good time,
right?
And you know, Jackson was talking about cliff jumping, and I was like, man, I don't know. And I got in the water, and it was freezing as fuck. It was so cold, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do any cliff jumping. And Jackson was like, come on. And you know, we did it in a good way, where you know, we started lower and then just kind of made your way up as you went. And then, you know, he was being like positive reinforcement for me to kind of push my comfort zone in a controlled way.
Sure.
Where it wasn't like, you know, we went to Molten Falls and Jackson was trying to pressure me into jumping off of the bridge.
Right.
You know,
that's
that's the extreme, but you know, just pushing like 1 foot higher, 2 feet higher, you know, just like that slow progression to the point to where, you know, I'm jumping off of something that's, you know, like 30 feet, 40 feet off the ground. Then it's like, okay, cool. And then when I leave, I'm like, oh shit, that was a lot of fun. I'm glad that I allowed myself to do these things that I was scared of. And so, you know, just finding those people to surround yourself with that know when it's okay to kind of try to be a little bit more pressuring when it comes to putting yourself into compromising situations, whether it's good or bad.
Right.
Did that make sense?
No, that made sense. At least it made sense to me. So it made sense to me, and I hope it made sense listening to it. But yeah, I agree. It's
really fascinating because the more that we kind of talk about it, the more I'm starting to realize how much I've grown up, you know?
Yeah, I know,
like,
right?
God, it's so crazy. And I was talking to you before we started shooting. I was like, yeah, I'm turning 22 in like a week. Literally a week.
Yeah, literally a week, I think. Is today
today's the 11th. Bonk.
Getting there, Zach.
Pug. Yeah. I find that so crazy because, like, you know, I still feel like I'm 19 and you know, I've grown up a lot, Arthur. It's really crazy.
Yes, you
have. And we're about to hit on the 18th. We're gonna hit the 1 year anniversary of the first episode of the podcast.
That we are.
And
that'd be nuts.
It's kind of crazy that it's on my birthday. I didn't really think about it until like months down the road. I was like, oh shit, we put that out on my birthday. That's really cool. Thanks, Arthur.
Of course. Of course.
I totally did that intentionally. But yeah, it's really, really cool. And you know, to be able to look back at, you know, the 60 plus episodes that we've done in the last year. And you know, I didn't think that was a lot, but there's 42 weeks in a year. So we've done more than once a week, which is sick. And, you know, I wanted to do something consistently where it was at least once a week.
Right.
And so
I think we did okay.
Yeah.
Considering the circumstances. Every now and then we broke it, but we were able to bounce it back every time. So, you know, it wasn't too tragic.
Right.
And I mean, if we did more than technically once a week in a year, I think we did pretty okay.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
did pretty okay.
you know, we ended up having to skip a week because, you know, life got in the way. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it was just kind of like, you got cabbage, I got sick. You had work, I had work.
Yeah, it
You
is
know?
what it is. But I'm okay. It's all good. We're back and it's all good. We're talking and stuff, you know? Speaking of back, Zach, should I talk about this thing I'm wearing?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
I don't know. It never showed up in the camera. I don't think I'm old people now, Zach. I have the back brace. No, I mentioned how I hurt my back, right, Zach?
Yeah.
It was very, very comedic timing because you said you were at your chiropractor.
Yeah.
And as you said that, I was strapping this on. I was like, oh, that's funny.
You're like, fuck, I need to go see a chiropractor.
Well, to my understanding, Zach, it's not more necessarily my spine, but it's my muscle.
I see.
I definitely pulled my muscle because, as I said, or I think I did. Did I even mention it in the podcast?
Mhm.
Oh yeah. I hurt my back doing some dumb shit. And to my understanding, and now that I think about it, how I did the thing, it makes more sense that I pulled my muscle there, right? So that's just unfortunate. So I'm just wearing this brace. The brace isn't to keep me straight. It's just to hold this ice pack. That's all.
Yeah.
Onto my back. Because honestly, the brace doesn't make any fucking sense, Zach. Because I tied the brace back, right? I tied it on, right?
Yeah.
I can still bend forward, and I can still bend backwards, Zach.
Right.
What? Am I using it wrong? Is that wrong? I mean, I'm not using it for that reason. What is it? Is it wrong? Am I doing it incorrect, Zach?
No.
Okay.
At that point, it's more of like a tummy tucker than anything
I think
else.
so. I think for me, it's just that like I bend forward and I acknowledge its existence. Like, oh, there it is. And I bend backwards. Oh, there it is. And then when I'm straight, I'm like, okay, I can forget about it.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I feel like it's supposed. But well, isn't it more like up one of these, like the shoulder things? You know what I mean? Like that keeps you like this.
Oh yeah, the little the posture.
Yeah, so it makes your
yeah.
back like like this. Hello, how are you today? That actually hurts.
You're like, hello, I am established gentleman.
Hello.
It is very nice to see you today.
Allow me to shake your hand with my hand as I grip your elbow as well. One of these. You ever done one of those handshakes, Zach?
No.
Me neither.
Oh no.
Well, I can't. I can't quite. Yeah. There we go. Look at that. You can't even see it. Look at that. That's a firm. No one fucking does that. Don't ever do that. If you reach for the elbows in the interviews, you're getting kicked out. You're done for.
Okay, so what I have seen is one of these. So where you go for the handshake and then you grab the other
Oh
hand.
yeah. I've done. That's
It's
like a generous one, right? That's
Yeah.
that's like a. I don't know if you do that to your interviewer, but that's more of like maybe like a relative or a friend. Like, hey, how's it going? You instead of like the fist bump or the dap, you go the handshake. Bam! The reaffirmation. Maybe not like that.
Yeah.
Unless they're very eccentric and they do that, and you're like, ow, but you don't say, you don't say anything because
Yeah.
you're not a pussy, You're like, yeah, what's good, man? No, I'm joking. But
Yeah, and then they let go and walk away and you're like, fuck.
have you ever done a high five and it hurt your hand? You had to pretend it didn't hurt.
I've done it so many times,
Yeah.
and especially when I was younger. And now I've realized I've gotten to the point to where when I high five people, sometimes I accidentally hurt them.
So you do it now. You've done the opposite. This is why I don't high five people, Zach. For celebratory high fives, I no longer do this because it hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe like a, yeah, let's go. But like a, yeah. But not like a, yeah, let's go. Bam. And you're like, ow, why did I do that? No, you know what? Let's just start doing chest bumps. Fuck it, Zach. I don't know.
Yeah, or like
I've never successfully done a chest bump, Zach. Never really gone for one. I've done like a shoulder, like one of those.
yeah.
I've done that, but not like I feel like a chest bump is like so old school. I don't know.
It's more like football type thing.
I think so. Well, you have the gear, right? So you're already outwards. So you don't
Yeah.
have you're not closer, and you go chest bump and you guys touch lips, and you're like, oh, that was fucking weird. Oh, my bad, bro.
I'm sorry, homie. I didn't mean to do that. Thanks for the chapstick, bro. But yeah, it's like the same thing with fist bumps where like,
Sure.
if you go for like too much sauce, they couldn't even see that. That was
That's
rather
okay.
unfortunate.
Yeah,
But
too much knuckle, and you
Too much knuckle, and then
you
it's
go
just
bone
like-
to bone, and you're like, ooh.
then it's like,
you're like, all right, what did
Yeah, but
like, what did we just do? I don't, was that worth it? I don't know.
yeah, like I've been in many situations where some guy who clearly did not like me and I clearly did not like them went for like a fist bump and I just punched the shit out of their hand.
God damn.
And I mean, you know, it didn't really hurt me that much, but I could see like behind the facade of like them not caring, I could see the pain behind their eyes.
Of course.
Funny as fuck.
Of course. I can't say I've done that personally, but hey, you know, do what you gotta do. It is what it is.
Nothing like being passive aggressive towards people you don't like.
Yes. I think I do enjoy the handshake though. You don't do it very often, but when you do, you have to make it count, you know?
Yeah.
It's always, whenever you do the handshake, Zach, these days it's for an important reason, you know?
Yeah.
And I have to think, I think I've mentioned him before, my history teacher, my freshman history teacher, Mr. Ziegler.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever given have you ever shook his hand?
I have.
Yeah, he is the handshake guy. He's the handshake teacher. You greet him with a handshake. A firm handshake. Like a oh, nice. Let's try that again. I'll come over here this time. Like a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a firm, like, hello, how are you?
I'm sorry, my hands are kind of clammy.
No, that's okay. I hurt myself trying to do this, so I you know, it's all good. You know, it's like, hello, how are you today? You know, and I have to thank him because he taught me a lot. Because I agree, you know, when you go for the handshake and you can really get a first impression off the handshake better than anything else.
Right.
Honestly. Like you can tell how nervous they are, you could tell how serious they are, what they mean, you know, what they mean business, you know, or they're kind of nervous to be here. You can judge a lot by that handshake, you know, and you know, sometimes you go for the handshake, you miss the handshake, you kind of do one of these, it's awkward, you know. So that's why I'm glad that he taught me how to handshake, you know, because I feel I've done that many times. Even in the beginning of that freshman year, Zach, I did that, Zach. I went for the early squeeze and I grabbed.
Oh my
his
god!
fingers,
Wait,
Zach.
hang on. Have you ever accidentally done one of these?
Oh yeah. Well, this is okay because nowadays you do this and then you go like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And also, that's a little bit more endearing, I guess.
Think so, yeah.
And like learning to be adaptable.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're not going to meet someone's grandma and it's like, nice to...
100-year-old grandma. Nice to meet... Wow, what a fucking weak handshake. Jesus Christ. I'm going to go back over there and drink. Okay.
What a frail old lady. But like, you know, being cognizant and aware of the people who you are interacting with. And like, you know, with like my dad, I'd say, are you okay, by the way?
Yeah, I hit some. I think I hit here. Yeah, I hit here. Because I went for the, but then I didn't went really wide. I hit this little frame thing, which is wood. Maybe like it's plastic, sharp. Anyways,
sharp edges. Anyways, so like, you know, I with like grown ass adults, I'll go for like the pretty firm handshake. And I've accidentally shocked some people because I forget a lot of times that I'm a rock climber. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
You got the grip, Zach.
Yeah.
You got the monster grip, Zach. The gorilla grip.
Not the right context for that. You know, but like, I forget.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, I'll go and
you go for the handshake and you go for the hold in his wrist. Like, hey, nice to meet you. Puncture his wrist. I'm sorry. I just thought of that. That was so funny.
Or like, you know, I'll.
I'm sorry. I don't know why. I was just thinking that. Dig the fingertips in. Whew, that's a good one.
Yeah. Like I'll go for like a solid, like firm ass handshake, and then they'll do one of, you know, one of those. It's like, oh shit, I'm sorry,
my fault.
My B, I'm sorry, BB.
You should have been more serious.
Yeah. Got to work on your hamstring. But yeah, it's really funny when I meet people for the first time and they try to go like for the handshake and then try to squeeze your hand and then I squeeze it back and they the look of surprise like, oh.
Yeah. I'm not the initial squeeze. I'm the counter squeeze, if that makes sense. Because I
am also a
first.
counter squeeze
Okay,
person.
yeah. I like to see what they do first. And I guess that could be a double-edged sword because maybe they are a counter squeeze as well. But I think when you do enough handshakes, Zach, there was that moment, right? Where we kind of know. And even in that split second where one doesn't squeeze, you're like, okay, he's counter squeezing. I'm going to squeeze.
Or there's like the initial squeeze where it's very light and then you like,
and then you go for it, right? We're both counter squeezers. We go for it. The split second, oh, he's not squeezing. We're both counter squeezers. All right, let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. And usually if you're the counter squeezer, then you usually have a firm one just by default because you're the one who's judging the other person.
Yeah.
So naturally we're like, okay, we're fine. We're going for the firm one, you know?
Yeah, but I'm not. There are very few occasions where I'm just full tilt, just.
Do you ever greet your younger relatives, like of the younger variety, in any specific way? Maybe like a high five, handshake, fist bump whenever you see them?
Mostly hugs.
Oh, that's right. You guys go for the hugs.
Yeah.
Asian family, we don't do that. We go, hello, stupid boy. No, we do that. How are you today, punk?
Hello, failure.
I think for my cousin, did I say this before? I have a couple of cousins. One cousin, she's very shy. I try and say hi. She doesn't say hi back. Or, she's like, I'm like, all right. Another cousin, I go for the dap because it's fun. So I go, hey, what's good? And mind you, they're like 5-year-olds. 6-year-olds. It's just funny whenever I go for it. And then another cousin, you don't watch Naruto, but you may know it just because it's so infamous. Like Itachi and Sasuke, the forehead hit.
Oh,
you
yeah.
may have seen it just on the grapevine. I do that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because he doesn't watch Naruto or anything. Although it seems like he knows it now, which is funny. But I just kind of did it, and and then a year passes, and we still do it. I say, hey, what's good? And I pull my finger out like this, and he comes and he smacks he comes to me and points his forehead up, and I go, what's good, bro?
That's so funny.
Isn't it?
I mean,
I'm not quite sure what I've done, but it's kind of funny.
See, the interesting thing is that sometimes you can just do something randomly, like like that. And then if you do it again and again, and then it becomes consistent and it just becomes a part of the way that you interact with each other, you're like with the power of hindsight, you're like, why the fuck did I start doing that?
Yeah.
And then you've passed the point of no return because you've already done it. And like for example, again, Jackson and I both have the same matching tattoo on our right arms. And so a lot of times when instead of like the initial dap up, like we'll grab each other by the tattoos and just be like, bah.
Oh, well, the forearm grab. That's right.
Yeah,
The forearm handshake. That I've done that. That's a very how do I say? A very like you said before, endearing kind of a handshake, right?
Yeah.
You don't quite do that to your interviewer, but you're very you know this guy. You're like, what's good, bro? Like the forearm.
Yeah.
That's very powerful.
Yeah.
Very powerful. Pang.
But it's really interesting, and like so what I've found is I'm usually the initiator of just weird random shit.
Okay.
And then a lot of the people around me just go along with it. I don't know why. I can't think of any examples because it's just become ingrained into
earlier before we started the show, I said I'm going to take a pee-pee. I've never said that in my fucking life, Zach, until you said it.
Or like it's when my phone rings. Ever since I started shooting the podcast with you, I've pretty much had the same ringtone.
The bing bong ching chong?
Yeah, it's always
I think I did that, but then I did that as a joke.
And then you did it consistently, and now I do it.
And now you do it.
Yeah, my notification is like the 1-up sound in Mario, boop
Mhm.
boop doop boop doop doop, and then Arthur was like bing bing bong ching ching chong,
Yeah.
and now I can't.
I did it first, by the way, before anyone gets angry. That was me. I did that.
Arthur did it, and now I do it. But yeah, and along with the hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend.
You started that.
I started that. This is from a YouTuber I watch, and I watch him so consistently that you begin to speak like him.
yeah.
In a way, right? Like you kind of start to speak in the same way as your. There was this funny picture. I don't know if I can ever. I mean, there's no chance I find it, but it was like some. It was some meme of like influences, and there was just like this one kid, like it's just typical white kid in middle school, right?
Mhm.
Dressed kind of properly and stuff, and he was hanging out with like some kind of a gothic kid, and then it's like the next picture is like he's transformed into like literally like that guy, that kid, you
Yeah.
know, and he's like mascara and everything. You're like, whoa. So how did we get here? It's kind of like that, you know. I kind of started speaking in the but it's that idea of like, you know, the world is about like just obtaining knowledge and obtaining information. As you keep going on, you know, you start speaking with or like the people you associate yourself with. You start having the same beliefs with the people you associate with. You start to disagree with the people you associate with. You know, you obtain all these different types of things.
Yeah.
You know, bit of a tangent. Because I brought up my younger cousin, the one I did this to.
hmm
So my grandma uses Line because she's Asian,
hmm
and unfortunately, the North America hasn't adopted using anything other than SMS. Unfortunately, because I want to use Line because I want to use the cool stickers. I'm serious. No, but you know, I don't know. I think Line is better, but just because you know because. It's better for, you know, texting internationally and stuff. You know, you don't have to get it. You know, at this point, SMS is kind of like, well, I know SMS is the old standard. There's some new stuff that's different acronyms or whatever. That's besides the point. No one cares. Anywho, she keeps getting logged out. I don't know why, but like every now and then in interval, she gets logged out, and I'm the one who normally has to do it. And I visit them. I visit my grandparents, not the one who live here, of course, but my other grandparents, and I visit them every now and then. And every time I visit them, I have to do it because that's how frequently it happens. I'm like, well, okay, this is getting a little bit absurd because I can't be there every time, you know?
Right.
And I don't mind doing it, of course, but like it's just a thing. Like every time I go there, oh, hello, Arthur, can you help me with my line? I'm like, okay, yeah, right. So the other day, I'm there and I'm thinking, why don't I teach this to this younger cousin? So he's like 5, 6, I think 5 or 6. I can't remember, but he's a smart kid.
Oh yeah.
We talked about kids are smart these days, Zach.
Yeah.
They're in technology. They know what they're doing. They're very smart with technology. Even if they're 4 years, they know the passcodes. They know the things. They know the settings. They know the taps. They know the ads. They know the close the ads. They know the things, Zach. They were born in the darkness. One might say they were molded by it, Zach.
You just live in the darkness.
Oh,
That was Darth
Not
Vader.
Darth Vader, yeah. No!
I am your father.
So I decided, you know what? I want to see if I can teach him. So there's a bit of a step. There's like a 2-step verification. Before you had to go to the email. And I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad, but it's confusing for my grandma. Because initially I was going to teach her. So I set up the one with like your smartphone because she doesn't get logged out of her smartphone, only her iPad. Which leads me to believe it's like you're signed into one, you can't sign into the other device. I don't know very much about Line. Maybe it's something similar to that idea.
It's like I imagine that it has like a similar sign-in idea to like Snapchat.
Perhaps. But she's never logged out of her phone though, only her iPad. So I'm not sure. But she does have an older phone. I don't know if that matters. Anyways, I decided, okay, let's just do it with like a smartphone thing. So, you know, you do this with the iPad, pops up on the phone, right? Classic, you know, classic 2-step. It's what's like the norm these days with a lot of things, right? So we try it and I get it to work. I'm like, okay, you know what would be a good idea? Felix, come down here. His name is Felix. Felix, come down here. I bring him down and I'm like, all right, Felix, I'm going to teach you this. Now, I need you to understand, Zach, that I have a very specific way of interacting with children. I think I've explained this before. I treat
Like
them
adults.
like adults, like human beings. But I also took child development classes.
Mhm.
I believe in positive reinforcements, but I also believe in having a little fun. So I teach them this, and I teach like it's quite a process. Like you'd have to log in. You have to remember the phone number. I wrote a phone number down and I wrote the passcode down. You need both of these two numbers.
Mhm.
I teach them how to input it into line. I teach them how to go into her phone, punch in the passcode, find line, go to the thing. It prompts you, tap the things necessary, punch in the code again, and it get it. Quite a bit of process, especially for a 5-year-old, right?
Yeah.
And I say, okay, Felix, if you can, I taught you how to do this. What did I say? And then I said, okay, I showed you how to do it again. And he does it with a little bit of help, but he does it. I'm like, okay, you did it. Cool. I will now buy you anything from Amazon for $50. $50 for a 5-year-old, Zach.
That's a lot of dollars.
A lot of dollary dues, Zach. You know why I didn't just say $20, Zach?
Why?
Why not? That's why, Zach.
Fair enough.
Because it's fun.
Mhm.
It's fun for him. He gets to thinking about it. And if I said $20, probably has a bunch of $20 things in his mind, Zach.
Mhm.
What about $50 things, Zach? Now he gets to think. He hasn't come back to me yet. You know, he gets to think now. And not only does he get to think, he gets to think about his next prize. Because I told him, okay, Felix, if you can do this by yourself with no help the next time, and I'm not there, and you can't lie to me. If you lie to me, I'll know. I won't know, but I will know. If you do it by yourself, I'll do $100 on Amazon. This is a lot of money, Zach, for a 5. If I was a 5-year-old, Zach, I would be flipping out.
I think it's so funny that the basis of all of this is just so that you don't have to be bothered by doing it.
I know. Look, okay, so there's a part of it, right? I understand this. Part of it is that so I can see her more often.
Yeah.
I understand that. And I completely understand. And I will still, if she needs something, of course, I will drive my ass there anytime.
Right.
But this is lying. This is communicating with her people. Her friends. I might not be there, I might have to be at work. So at this point, there are plenty of more reasons that I need to go to fix things or do other things or just to see her, say hi, help with things. Again, fix things. But this one, it seems pretty feasible that Felix, my younger cousin, who lives with her,
Mhm.
should just know this. He should try it. And also, it's an experiment for me. Can he do it? Because he's 5 or 6. I don't know. He's young. But I'm curious about how smart the youth is. Because I've mentioned before, they're very smart.
Also, another thing too is that positive reinforcement that you were talking about.
Mhm.
And I mean,
$50, $100 is a bit overkill. I agree.
Yeah,
But it's fun.
But yeah, exactly. It's fun, and also it gives you an opportunity to be able to not only test your abilities to teach to young children,
Mhm.
right? But also it gives you an opportunity to see the response that you get.
Yeah.
Because if it's an exchange of goods, right?
Right.
If you are willing to learn this thing and apply this thing for me so that I don't have to do it every single time, then I would like for you to be reimbursed by that.
Mhm.
And I think if you keep going with that fundamental idea,
Mhm.
then it'll get instilled, and obviously not to the extent of $150 on
Okay,
Amazon.
yeah.
I'm
I'm probably not doing any more than this. At least not for a while.
Yeah, exactly. And so, that fundamental idea of asking for
Something.
something, a good or service, and then being reimbursed by it financially. But also not making it to where everything that you ask them to do, they're going to be reimbursed for it. So like, when I was a kid, it would be like, our quote unquote allowance would be broken up into like different chores that we had to do or whatever.
Right,
like,
right,
hey,
right.
if you go mow the lawn, I'll give you $5. Or like, if you do the dishes, $5, whatever, And so that idea of just the exchange of goods for services, or like money for services,
Right.
you know, that kind of like that fundamental idea of
Right,
like,
right,
if I do a thing, then I should
Obtain thing back.
obtain a thing of equal value back.
Mhm.
And there's a difference between transactional and just doing it because you're a good person. You know?
Right.
And I think that that's an important distinction as well, is that, you know, you're not just sitting there like, oh, well, I gave you a hug today, so I deserve money. No.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, I wiped my own butt when I went to the bathroom today. I deserve $5.
Right.
You know, like nothing like that. But it's just, you know, if you are asked to do something that is out of the ordinary, you know, like even now, you know, my mom will call me and be like, hey, on your way home from work, can you just pick up Panda for dinner? Because I couldn't be asked. I'll pay for your food. I'd be like, hell yeah, dude. Or like, you know, can you run to the store for me for this, and this, and then you can get yourself a Monster or something. And I'm like, fuck yeah. You know, it's like, it's that same idea where it's like, if I'm going to go out of my way to do something for you, then at least make it worth it, you know?
Right. But yeah, there is that distinction of doing that, and also like, hey, can you grab me the pen over from the kitchen? You're gonna pay me? The fuck? You know, there's a bit of a distinction, but I think so far the reason why I'm doing this is initial motivation.
Right.
Excuse me. So it's like, yeah, I'm doing a lot of money, but that's just for fun. But he's gonna do this, and he's going to have this motivation to want to do it. And once he has this motivation to want to do it, he's going to want to learn to do it. That's the big point I'm trying to get to. Because he's going to learn how to do it himself. I'm not there anymore. I mean, I will be, but I'm going to try not to answer his questions. I want to figure it out. Because he's already done it.
Yeah.
So let's have him figure it out by himself when the next time it happens, which is probably going to be, I don't know, ETA next week, maybe around like Saturday. Or Monday, sorry. Probably.
That's funny.
And then we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And if he can do it, then he gets something. And then now he knows how to do it. And now he's just probably going to do it because it's his grandmother.
Right.
And yeah, it's kind of like a simple exercise to me to just see how I can potentially raise a child. I don't know. Like how if I go about things the way I do, what would happen to this child? Like I said, I kind of go about children in a very different way. I told that one kid, you know, that all aquatic animals are some sort of dogs, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where no, you know, I'm trying to grasp this idea of influence as much as possible.
And it's so funny when you could just fuck with them too.
Yeah, it is funny. You have to be careful. But I don't know. It's just kind of like the reason I do $50 to $100 because it's unexpected.
Right.
And also I say it has to be from Amazon. I mean, and I'm not because I'm sucking Jeff Bezos' cock, which I would do any day of the week for an Amazon Prime card or an Amazon card, you know.
Yeah.
As one does, as one would.
Hey, Jeff Bezos.
Jeffrey you know, but what the point is,
you did it.
it's the thing that we talked about a long time ago, which is, should I just give him $20?
Right.
If I just give him $20, there's no motivation. There's no creativity. There's no ideas. I don't even know what the kid wants. He can pick out what he wants, but I'm not going to give him $20 to do so.
Right.
He has to pick it out and come to me, and then I will buy it for him.
Yeah.
So there's a bit more of it. I'm not going to dig through his wish list. I don't know if he has one, but I'm not going to dig through it. I want him to figure it out. Figure out what he wants to do with this money.
Right.
Because he has the money, technically. But if I gave him $50, there's a potential that it just never gets used. Or it goes into his piggy bank or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
This is money that's going to be used now.
Right.
I am going to buy you something for about $50 or under. You have to decide. This is a different scenario you're put in. So this is an exercise for him as well to figure this out.
Right.
And I'm interested to see what happens. I'm interested to see what this does. I don't know. It's kind of like I have this gut feeling when I work with children. This gut feeling of like, what is cliche, what is not going to work, and what will work, and what might work.
Right.
And because I don't know what will work, I know what might work. I have this very unique way of dealing with children at this point because I know the normal way to deal with children. and I know the bad way to deal with children.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I may not be a parent myself, but I don't have to be a parent to see bad parenting.
Right.
You know?
And I've had excuse me, I've had a couple of different opportunities to have very interesting interactions with my nephew, who is just about to turn 3.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, he was born in 2019. Yeah,
3.
Turn 3. So he and I have a very interesting relationship because obviously I live with my parents, and so whenever he goes to grandma and grandpa's house, I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I see him all the time. And so, it's so adorable. Every time he sees my car, like if he's there and I'm coming home from work or whatever, and he sees my car drive by, he's like, Zachy. It's like, oh my God.
Cute. Wholesome.
Yeah.
r/wholesome.
r/wholesome. And that's a recent development. I didn't know that this was going on until the last time I saw him. And he will ask me to go up and play my piano with me. And I've gotten him interested into like a lot of different things that I'm interested in. And it's so cute because like basically what I try to do whenever I'm working with him specifically is I will try to pick something that seems attainable for him. So like I will be sitting at the piano with him on my lap, and let's just say middle C. I'll ask him, can you play this note? Right? He'll play it, and then I'll make it into a chord when he plays it. Right? And I'll just be like, press and hold this note right here, and then he'll do it. And then sometimes he'll just go on a rampage and just
Of course.
as they do. And so I've been slowly but surely trying to kind of like work him through a lot of the things on the piano, and that's been really fun. And it's just so satisfying because he's doing it because he likes it. And I think that that's the important thing. Is that even if I don't want to, he'll knock on my door to my room, and he'll just waddle his way over to the piano and
Well, there's that motivation of wanting to explore and learn. And that's what's fascinating about kids. That's why I loved my child development class, although I slept through a lot of it. But that's for a different reason, because Zoom is bad, and I also don't like school very much. But I enjoyed the class and what I learned.
Right.
The idea of environmental learning, the idea of wanting to the age of exploration and wanting to know more about the world that you live in. And you have this one thing, and you find it, and it's cool, and you want to keep doing it. I like when kids have random hobbies and then they've dropped them and they keep going. Like right now, Felix, like I said, he's into Minecraft. What's great is I'm into Minecraft. That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
I can actually talk with him. And he's also very smart. He's in the creative modes and he's doing things, not quite the redstones, but the buildings and the things and he did this was the most interesting thing. He set up a rig in the sky where there was a zombie and a villager, and then he held the zombie so he couldn't move yet, and he had the villager, and then there was kind of like this fork in the road. One was like, I forget, one was like a solid road and the other one was like the sand TNT pitfall thing, pressure plate thing, right? And he was like, Arthur. I'm like, I Arthur, because I means brother in Laos. And I try to instill to them that they need to say this, because if they don't, I'm not going to respond to them. You have to call me
Interesting.
You have to call me I Arthur, otherwise I don't respond to you. Anyways, I Arthur, I want to see which way the villager goes. Does he go to the safe way or the way that makes him die? And I go, interesting. Don't say die, but that's interesting. And then he lets the zombie go. And then he picks the pressure plate. And he goes, whoa, why did he do that? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I didn't say that. You didn't hear that.
You're like, fuck if I know. I mean,
fiddlesticks. No, I'm joking. I don't curse in front of them, but he does things like that. Experiments. And that's what's cool about Minecraft, It's kind of like you just do whatever the heck you want. whether it be redstone. Like, it doesn't have to be redstone. It could just be like, this is entity behavior. What the fuck? He's doing behavioral experiments, Zach. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
are you that's
if you think about it though, a lot of times kids will have complex ideas that they don't know how to explain.
Mhm.
But in the situation where the solid road or the TNT road, like, which road is he going to take? That ends up going into like algorithms, and it goes into behavioral designs of the characters in this game, to the extent of like, that's complex ideas. It may just be like, oh, I wonder what would happen, you know, whatever. But at the same time, though, it is a complex idea. It is a very complex idea that you don't even know the answer to.
I don't know the answer to.
And so it's fascinating when little kids are able to have an avenue to explore these ideas, as simplistic as they may be. It's still the same thing. It's still like that crave for knowledge and that curiosity that is so fascinating. And I guess for me, as an adult around little kids, I want them to be able to have as many answers as they can. So if they ask me a stupid question, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah,
you know?
it's all good.
It's just
I
you know,
got
they're curious about these things, and they want to know more. They want to learn. They want to grow. They want to entertain these ideas.
You have to respond to them. One of the biggest things that stuck to me is responding to the kids and not neglecting them. Neglect might be like a harsher word, but that's kind of where I'm getting at, where it's like, even if it's like the 1-year-old, they're talking like, you respond to them.
Yeah.
You just answer them back. And I do so like an adult because it's funny. You know what I mean? I have these, we have twins, my younger cousins, they're twins. They're also Black Asian, so that's funny. But they're very cute and they're very wholesome. And despite being older, they still kind of talk a little gibberish. Because, I mean, they're like, I don't know, 2, 3, I think.
Yeah.
You know? You know?
Yeah.
That type of thing. And they go, and I'm like, yeah. What do you... And they're like, I'm like, yeah? Oh, yeah, on the TV. Yeah. He's doing this and that. And he's trying to figure out this and, you know. You know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know. It's pretty lame, right? He's his shirt is pretty weird, but I mean, it's kind of what he chooses to wear, so it's all good.
It's so funny. Like, the more complex of an answer that you give, the funnier it becomes.
It's certainly funny. Honestly, just like say these really complex adult lines. It's so funny, but it makes me wonder how they would grow up. Because I saw this one video of like, T.I., the rapper,
Yeah.
and his kid. And there was just this video, and she's like, I don't know, maybe like, I've had to guess, maybe 3 or 4. And she's just in his arms, and he's taking like a front-facing video, and they're just kind of talking. And I'm just like, you see this? This is what happens when you don't speak gibberish to your kid. Because it's just like the most like, I mean, obviously she doesn't, you know, she's speaking like a baby would.
Yeah.
Like a toddler would, of course. You know, but she's forming the words and stuff, and they're just kind of having a conversation, you know, how that would go. And I'm like, this is fascinating. You know, this is like, it's not like, hello, how are you? Yes, that's a river, water go whoosh. No, they're just like kind of talking, and I'm like, this is fascinating.
Dude, that's how I talk to my nephew. I'm, you know, obviously I simplify my language a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's fucking 2. But like, you know, I'll kind of get down to his level. I'll sit down on the ground and I'll be like, hey, how you doing, buddy? Like, is everything going okay? You know,
how's life? How's the family?
Yeah. Did you shit your pants? No. But yeah, just like, you know,
Okay. Another thing we learned in child development is that gibberish is a good thing to do because it makes forming complex of pronunciations, such as the English language does, easier to understand, and then they figure out as they go. That's the point of gibberish. I agree with that. But that's stupid. Everybody else is going to do that, so I'm not going to do that. That's where I lay. I lie in that everybody else is going to do that anyways. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to say 5-syllable words to you, kid.
I just imagine
Perpetuitous.
I just imagine if you had like a 2.5-year-old kid, they'd be like, "Father, I require sustenance." Or
Father, where is the baby powder? I shit myself.
"I require my loincloth to be changed, Father."
Perpetuitous.
Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
I think, and that also adds to like an exploration type of idea where it's just kind of like, I know we're talking for a long time, but it's like they hear these things and they don't exactly know what it means, but they just kind of hear it. And then at some point they're going to figure it out, but they hear it.
Yeah.
They hear these words and they hear the way that I speak to them and they kind of respond in a specific way, you know, and that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Right. And another thing too is that the more that you expose them to a little bit more complex language and like, you know, that I think that that's a part of the reason too why it's becoming a little bit less encouraged to use like baby talk and that kind of thing when you're talking to kids, because the more time that they have around complex language and the more time that they have around complex ideas, the more that they're going to be able to absorb from that. And, you know, children are like vacuum cleaners of information.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, they, oh God, I'm going to get this number wrong. I apologize. Like I said, I fell asleep a lot in this class, but I believe the age in which they learn the most is like 2 to 8. It's something like that.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. Actually.
It's something along those lines because the brain is growing very largely, very fastly. So I'm just like, well, if they're growing like this and they're obtaining knowledge and they're trying to learn this language that they don't know, but certain sounds mean things, then why not do more than just the basics?
Right.
Because then they'll absorb it better. You know, I mean, if you try to learn a language now, that shit's hard. A baby did it. He didn't have any classes. She just kind of here.
She didn't have a language to base this language off of.
Exactly.
It's just like, wow. And then that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think an interesting thing for me when I was a kid is when I was really young, probably, you know, like 8 to 10 or like 7 to 10, I was super into reading.
Yeah.
And so I started reading Harry Potter books when I was like 11, you know, and I was like super into literature, and then I found YouTube and couldn't be fucking bothered.
Right.
You know,
it is what it is.
And so the fact that you say that kind of makes a lot of sense. Like if you kind of think back to like the things that you were doing around that age, you know, that's when I discovered music. That's when I wanted to learn and do all these things. And, you know, like I was playing sports before I realized how unathletic I was, and, you know, just all of this stuff when I was around that age. And it just makes a lot of sense. And it's cool to have that kind of context for it. Very, very interesting.
It is.
And this is a conversation that I would love to have with my sister. Like, if we could have my sister on the podcast, that'd be fucking cool.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'll talk. We'll see.
All right, we'll figure it out. We need to have a guest, I guess. We'll just bring Jackson.
Oh, Andy's been wanting to.
Oh, yes, get on me. Let's get the guys going. We're back in full swing, so shit, we'll have some more guests. But yeah, I think that's a good place to end it then. We've been talking for a bit. thank you guys. It's been a while since we fucking done an outro. Thank you guys. Links, stuff is in the description. You click the like button, subscribe button. You know, you guys know the deal. Your socials and all that. Coffee, Patreon, if those are ready. We're there. You know where to find us. You know how to support us. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for asking where the podcast has been. Thank you for letting us know that you enjoy the podcast. You know, I appreciate that. Zach appreciates that. So we appreciate that greatly. We love doing this. I mean, we took a damn month off and we're still doing it. You
And
know?
we missed it terribly.
We missed it terribly. I wanted to talk so damn bad. I even played with the idea of doing it remote. Thank God we didn't do that. But you know, if push came to shove, fuck it, bro. We're getting a Discord call. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're gotta be back. We're gonna try to do 2 days a week again. If not at least one day. At least we're gonna try to do the Monday/Wednesday schedule back again, and it'll be great. But then, guys, once again, anything else to say, Zach? To lead the youth.
To lead the youth. Be good people. Yeah. I love your face. Okay, bye.
Goodbye.